Now I do have another question about XRP, and you don't need to give a price target or a price prediction, but do you believe that XRP can hit $100 at some point? And what do you think needs to happen for that scenario to become possible?
The usage is through the roof. I think the natural convergence of crypto with AI, if it was here 5 years ago, it's here now.
Yeah.
And as soon as they overlap in potentially the collapse as well, when using it is super easy, onboarding people into the system is super easy, pair that potentially with the CBDC scenario, which we're all too familiar with, and the liquidity crisis that could be impending.
Welcome, everyone. We're going to have a XRP talk today. I do have a special guest on my channel. Nathan, how are you doing today?
Very good, Ido. Good to be on.
That's lovely to have you. By the way, for my audience, I'm going to drop the link for his channel in the description of this video. Nathan is the #1 content creator on Instagram for XRP. He's also on the microfinance, and I want to share something that I think I never told you. There is different type of content creators. I think there is a lot, for example, people on YouTube that they just report on articles, and then there is a lot of people that do different research. So in my case, I like to do the research myself. If you guys follow my content, you know from Twitter, I was putting out a lot of research, and there was very few people and channels that I used to watch and get some information. So one of them was Versan and the Black Swan Capitalist, and one of them was you on Instagram. I think I never told you this, so this means a lot. I think if I look back on time and today, I realized that the two guys that sometimes not very often, I am making videos and collaborating together. Well, one is Versan, one is you, so it's an honor to have you on my channel.
Oh, thank you, Ida. It means a lot. Yeah, you guys, I said it when I first came on Black Swan Capitalist, that you two were instrumental in the formulation of my knowledge and research in XRP. So it's cool. It's cool to now be able to collaborate and you know, make content together and talk about where everything's heading with a mutual understanding.
Yeah, that's lovely. Just like this week, I was scrolling on my Instagram. I had these saved videos, and I was like, oh, damn, that's a lot of videos from Nathan here. And that's where I got a lot of information, valuable information. So thanks for joining me today. So now let's talk some XRP. I want first to understand, what do you believe will be the biggest catalyst that finally triggers XRP adoption? So there's a lot of opinions, and I think that XRP serves multiple purposes. Some people believe it's going to be tokenization of real-world assets. Some people believe it's going to be cross-border payments. Now, what's your take on this one? What's your opinion that's going to trigger XRP adoption?
Mine has shifted recently. It really has. I think from a fundamental standpoint, most of us can agree that once the regulatory clarity is embedded within the system, so meaning once it's not just passed in law, but the banks and institutions actually start to leverage the new legal language, so to speak, there will be a tangible difference. But often one of the key points about that is they can't actually leverage the new system unless there's enough liquidity in the system, which begs the question, where does the liquidity come from? We've seen ETFs come out, didn't really do what we thought it might have done. But hey, that's, you know, a lot of that could be because they're buying from the dark pools still and OTC, and it's really not being leveraged yet on the open market, even though the actual XRP circulating on exchanges is very low. It's quite illiquid, and most of the XRPs in ODL and, you know, escrowed, blah, blah, blah. But where does the actual liquidity come from? And my thesis has shifted. It's actually moved towards this AI agentic economy that is rapidly emerging. We talked a bit about it last week on my channel. So if you haven't watched that, Ido's put it out as well, definitely give that a listen because we talked a fair bit about it. But I simply come back to this point of Claude, OpenClaw, ChatGPT, the agent economy that's rapidly emerging, all of these amazing tools that are now being leveraged in small businesses, big businesses, even at a consumer level now. Pretty soon, they're going to be transacting with one another. They cannot open a bank account, but they can open a crypto wallet. And I'm starting to think, as I learn more and more about this agentic space, and I'm building more and more with Claude Code and OpenClaw and building autonomous solutions for my business, I am seeing the astronomical, gargantuan even, opportunity and liquidity that is probably going to flow in pretty soon at not just a business level, small business level, but at a consumer level, convenience factor, because they can open crypto wallets so soon. And guess what? They're not going to be using Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're going to be using XRP and tokens that can settle in a couple of seconds for less than a penny. So do the maths on that. I think a truck ton of liquidity comes from them. And it also probably addresses a big part of the mass onboarding problem that David Schwartz talks a lot about. It's like, how do you actually mass onboard retail and people into the ecosystem without them even realizing? And of course, one of those is the whole CBDC argument, where you go, when we're trapped and people are getting UBI, they have to get their digital ID and lock themselves into CBDC, which is inadvertently an indirect sign up to the new system, but it's not really like a liquidity injecting participation event. So that is my kind of broad umbrella, long-winded response to that. Is it's really leaning into something happening soon with this AI agentic economy that I don't think's being entirely weighed up yet.
Wow, there is a lot to unpack there. If we consider AI agents are set to actually bypass human being transactions, let's say in the next 5-10 years, is just another huge opportunity in the crypto markets. And it's quite interesting that if we were to have this conversation perhaps 2 years ago, we would not even mention artificial intelligence, and now suddenly it becomes the whole stage of the conversation. So there is a lot of opportunity, especially if you think about it, how practical it is to open a new XRP wallet. Well, everyone can do an experiment. It takes about 10-20 seconds to start a new Xaman wallet, for example, which is one of the most widely adopted wallets. And if you compare that to, for example, Ethereum, where you have to pre-fund the wallets, and you need to spend money in gas fees, and you have to actually convert stable coins to Ethereum, send the Ethereum to the wallet, and it takes time, it takes energy, it takes money. And the same is true to a lot of cryptocurrencies out there, but with XRP, that's basically boom, it's just instantly. That's basically the solution. I am 100% sure that artificial intelligence is going to play a pivotal role on XRP adoption. So I am 100% with you. I also agree. There is very low XRP sitting on exchanges. I think a supply shock is far more close than most people realize. I think I also shared this in our podcast, how I did an experiment in the past where I came across all liquidity pairs in different exchanges that were trading XRP, and the amount of XRP sitting there was extremely tiny. So this is exciting. However, I want also to ask you, how do you think this change happens? Because there is a lot of theories in the crypto space. It's like more from the part of what looks like the flip the switch moments. We know different theories. In my case, for example, I think there is a black swan event that can trigger XRP adoption. What's your opinion? What's going to be the final moment, the final catalyst for XRP adoption?
Well, I feel like we must be close because retail sentiment is so bad, but fundamentals are through the roof. I don't think at any point in the history, at least the history that I've been involved in the crypto space, that juxtaposition or paradox has existed. It just hasn't. You know, the fundamentals are through the roof. Like in July, they're piloting the settlement of the back end of the stock market through the DTCC with XRP, XLM likely, and a number of other protocols are intertwined into that. I think Canton, Chainlink, but they're serving different purposes. Like, that's huge. That then goes live in October this year. You know, all the acquisitions Ripple's made, basically your own a la carte acquisition list of companies to build the system of decentralized finance outside the legacy banking system if they wanted. Obviously, it's intertwined through like G Treasury and Ripple Prime, etc. But that, to me, is just, it's a wild paradox that they've managed to achieve such high fundamentals with such low retail interest, which tells me we're close. If we have the debt-based collapse, which a lot of pundits are predicting, your Francis Hunts, etc., and things play out the way they potentially could over the next few months, I still think there is. But honestly, to answer quickly, I still think it leans into this AI thing. AI is the one thing that is propping up the stock market. It's got huge retail. Retail are super bullish on it still. Valuations are through the roof. Whether they're just or not, you know, can be debated. But the usage is through the roof. I think the natural convergence of crypto with AI, if it was here 5 years ago, it's here now. And as soon as they overlap,